That's great. Wow, that was amazing. That was well said. I thought there was another. Sorry.
Hello, my name is Enrique. I have this story. One of my teachers once told me you should never play your instrument like your instrument. You should sometimes, if you play the flute, you should play like it was a saxophone, like it was a guitar. So this is a question for all of you. Do you do that? You think you play the piano like you play you playing the flute, or you're playing the bass, or you're playing the drums, like if you want to sound it like a saxophone, or that's my question.
I think what your teacher was trying to say was that you should be able to not only play your instrument for the things that your instrument's good at. Like, what do you play?
Play the bassoon.
The bassoon. Okay. Speaking for this instrument, I know this instrument can play some of the lowest notes. It's a string instrument, and it has no frets like a bass or a guitar. So I can go. I can also play double stops. I can do that, or I can play with a bow. I can slap. I can beat on the body. So the point of it is, your teacher, I think, was trying to say, don't just listen to people who play your instrument and only play it like your instrument. Something my teacher used to tell me was transcribe saxophone and trumpet solos so you can understand, because it's when you try and play something on an instrument that's not yours, you have to figure out how they do it. Like a saxophone can go from here to here in like one pressing a button. For me, it's like I have to be like, I have to think about it, you know? So trying to figure out how to do different things that are not natural to your instrument and figuring out how you can apply that to your instrument gives you a different range of sounds that you can deal with. It's all about sounds. Like, how do you get a certain sound? Like, for instance, Shea plays piano. But what if I needed Shea to play piano as if he were playing like in a rock guitar band? How would you do that, Shea? Like power chords. See how that inspired everybody to do something completely different? And that's not like, I guess, a traditional way of playing the piano, so to speak.
Rick? Yeah, jump in.
I'll make this real quick, but your question reminded me of one time, we all went to Florida State University College of Music together, and we studied with a great piano player and educator named Marcus Roberts. You should check out his music if you haven't. He told me one summer, he learns people really quickly, and he learns what they need really quickly. And he told me, transcribe solos from 4 artists, 2 guitar players who make you feel comfortable, and 2 horn players who make you feel very uncomfortable. So I spent the summer, after he told me that, I picked Wes Montgomery, the great jazz guitarist. You have to know Wes Montgomery if you play jazz guitar. Grant Green, another amazing jazz guitarist. And then I picked Branford Marsalis and Wayne Shorter to transcribe, 2 tenor saxophonists. And when you learn to play a Branford Marsalis solo on guitar, it doesn't fit on the guitar the way a Grant Green solo does, where it originates from the guitar. It forces your hand into places that you would never think to do that. And so that can expand your mind. So yeah, that's good to do. Like for me, if I listen to too much John Scofield at one point, like I will start playing like John Scofield or trying to. So it's good to get off your instrument and find different sources of inspiration. But also singers. I feel like we should all listen to singers and transcribe them. I'm sure a lot of people in here have transcribed other instruments besides what they play, and you should absolutely do that. In fact, I've even tried to play like violin partitas and stuff. I still can't play it because it just forces my finger. I'll play a little bit. I'm trying to play that for about 10 years and I still can't play it, so I need to go practice. Anyway, good luck on your journey.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I want to add one more thing to what you said, just because I think your question has a lot of different viewpoints to it. Because I mean, we've all studied with teachers, and sometimes teachers can say some of the craziest things. Because they're teaching you, so they're just trying to get you to embody these concepts. So sometimes they say stuff that may not make sense quite yet. I know there's some things that my drum teachers, Jason Marcellus, he would say things to me, and I'm like, man, I don't know what you're talking about. But it happens. It takes time for it to sink in. The one element too, I love these viewpoints. Another element that's very key when it comes to just playing your instrument as if someone else is actually listening to the musical situation, listening as if you're not playing the drums or you're not playing your specific instrument. Transcribing helps that. When Rick was transcribing Bradford and Wayne and Wes Montgomery, I guarantee you he could actually sing to you Joe Chambers on the drums. He could probably tell you exactly what each member in the band was playing. He can tell you what was going on outside of that specific instrument. So whatever instrument you play, whether it's piano, drums, and you listen to your favorite record, if you pay enough attention to it, you're going to start to pay attention to everything else around it and not what you're playing. Like I'm never listening to exactly what I'm playing. It's always because I'm always listening to these guys, and they're not listening to themselves. They're listening to me. They're listening to Shea. It's like an exchange. Basically, what you're playing, it's like you want to be selfless in a musical environment. You just want to be open. And if you listen that way, you'll play completely differently. Yeah. I got you. We can talk some more about it too. Get deep on it.
Can you tell us a little bit about your guitar technique and how do you engage with the piano?
So you've hit on a very critical thing for anybody trying to play the guitar in jazz, which is that I can play more than one note at a time, and so can he. And so you have a very special relationship when you play improvised music with another harmonic instrument, and it's a very important relationship. And the key thing, as Jamison was saying, is listening. And there's great examples of that on records. I think of the great drummerless piano trios like Nat King Cole trio, like in the early days before he was a big pop star. And then also the Oscar Peterson trio from back in the day. And you're gonna hear guitar players, like they're kind of playing like Band of Freddie Green style. Functioning as a drum when they were doing that. And then it kind of evolves. And then my favorite record with guitar and piano in such a harmonious relationship is Smoking at the Half Note, Wes Montgomery. And you have Wes Montgomery on guitar, the greatest ever, and Wynton Kelly on piano, one of the swingingest pianos of all time. And they're both comping, they're both playing chords at the same time, but they never get in each other's way. And you'll find Wes sticking to like a repeated rhythm. It's just something like, almost like a big band background. But don't, just something like repetitive so it doesn't clash with the rhythms that the piano player's playing. I tend to defer to the piano player, honestly. I play as little as possible. So you asked about my technique. My technique is nobody's gonna notice if I don't play all the notes. If I stop playing, everything's fine. So yeah, if I feel like I'm getting into dangerous territory or I'm like rubbing something the wrong way, I just stop playing and I just listen. So yeah, just shutting up is a big part of my technique. And it should be. I mean, this is, after all, conversation. This is jazz music. We're all listening. We're all saying stuff at the same time, but we're trying to have a conversation. So yeah, just shut up for a while and let some things go by. For me, as a guitar player, I grew up playing blues. I was a Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix, B.B. King, Allman Brothers, Clapton, you know. That was my bag, and still is. So that's how I got into music. And somewhere along the way, in high school, I heard a guitarist named Derek Trucks, a great slide guitarist, and he was always talking about John Coltrane and Miles Davis. And so through that, I got into those guys, and then I didn't think I could play jazz on the guitar. I just thought it was beyond me. And then I heard Grant Green, and I was like, whoa, there's something there I connect with. Because it was similar in a way to like a B.B. King solo, but there were just like a couple little twists and turns that B.B. would never play. But it was enough that I could, oh, it's like what I already know, but there's like one extra note in there, I can do that. So Grant Green kind of helped me transition and go, maybe I can actually do this. And yeah, I just kind of continued through that. But for me, the blues has been the underlying theme of the way I play guitar. I checked out Robert Johnson and Son House and all the old blues guys, and I'm always, for me, that's home. So my angle into jazz is that, and it's probably always going to be that. I'm definitely not like a Kurt Rosenwinkel modern jazz guitar player. I don't have the most chops. For me, what I care about is tone, taste, rhythm, parts, choices, decisions, and being tasty. So, and as I've gotten older, that's meant playing less and less, and just choosing your moments wisely, and then offering something really cool, hopefully. So I hope that's kind of answering your question.
That's how you get paid.
Yeah, just stop playing, and then you get paid. That's how it works.
You get paid. I love it.
Well, first of all, thank you guys for being here. It's great to have you here. Well, as you said at the beginning, we all come from different backgrounds, different influences. My question is, for you and your experience, which are the most important considerations to, at the end, sound as a unit, where all these different personalities, these different styles, can express and can develop in this environment called jazz?
That's a good question. Let's give it to him in nuggets, because that's a deep question. We can actually talk about that for hours, but let's just break it down.
Just to make sure I understood that right, you're asking how do we add human qualities that make jazz more, like that connect us? Say it again, I'm sorry.
It's more like, how did you, with all your different backgrounds, styles, personalities, how did you get all those things together to sound as a unit at the end?
Oh, well, there's one word that we really like to use besides the word vibe. It's empathy. Empathy, being able to empathize with our fellow man, you know? Like, for instance, we also, besides wanting to empathize with one another, we have a strong desire to listen to one another and to make the best music possible. And we know that the best music possible is only achieved when we work together as a team. That's why that's why people should play music and get involved in the arts, because when you play music, it's almost akin to playing basketball. Like in basketball, everyone has a different role in the band, right? I mean, on the team. So in jazz, and Jamison probably can use better basketball analogies than me, but we all have a different thing that we're supposed to do. Like, he's supposed to play chords and rhythm. I'm supposed to play roots and let people know what the chords are and time. He's supposed to make everybody sound, just lift the entire band up. Somebody plays melody, but no matter, and that can all change. Like, the bass can play melody, Piano can play melody, he can play roots, anything can happen. But if at the end of the day and the beginning of the day, we decide that we want to play together and we're sensitive with one another and what each other is doing, then it allows us to come together and create like this, like we can create Voltron that way, you know, like if you're hip to that, like we create like this machine that's not really a machine, it's a human. It's like its own force, you know? And that force is way more powerful than if we were to just be doing it by ourselves.
That's heavy. Yeah. I'm gonna say something that's pretty references. You know how when you have to write a paper in school, and then when you get to that level, like you write a paper and you just gotta put your words down, but then when you get older, you get to college or high school, they make you put the reference where you got your sources from. You reference the bottom of the paper, you know. When we talk about music, a lot of times, because we have different backgrounds, we utilize references, records, concepts from records, musicians, live shows, the entire experience of music. You get specific with it and you talk about it. So I like Ray Charles. I'm really big about certain tunes. I don't want it to sound necessarily like contemporary soul. I want it to sound like folk. There's a tune that we do called Away. And when I first brought the tune to the band, I said I wanted it to be like country, like Ray Charles sings country. You see what I'm saying? You use references from your study, from your practice, from your understanding and knowledge to draw everybody in together. What makes it beautiful and creates an identity of a band sound is that everybody comes to it from a different place. You see what I'm saying? So I'm gonna play a little bit of this song. You can do the acoustic. Yeah. What you think? It's up to you. Acoustic or electric? Acoustic. Ooh. Okay. So when you get in those band situations or musical situations, you know, you use references. Like we'll say, man, I want to go to a Coltrane vibe. Like, you know, I want to go to like Elvin, Jimmy Garrison, and John Coltrane. Or I want to go to like, you know, Oscar Peterson and Dick Penn, Ray Brown. You know, or we want to go to like Phil Collins, you know, or like, but you use the reference. The reference will say, and if you don't know what that reference is, you have homework to do. You see what I'm saying? We do it all the time. Rick, we were writing for my new record that we have coming out, and then he would say names, and I would just be writing them down. I just didn't know none of the names. I was like, well, okay, gotta write that one down. But the more I check out these names, when I come back to them, I get it. We sync closer together. Simple song, start over. I said I wanted this song to be like a country blues song. Ray Charles record called Ray Charles Sings Western Country, modern sounds of country and Western music. And he's singing the blues, dealing with the elements of jazz in the country format. So this is a song I wrote, and I told the band, you know, please forgive the times I can't be there to pick you up from school. I wish I could have seen you walk that stage on your graduation day. Mama knows how much I really care. One day you'll see how much I really care. Every time I leave you with the kiss goodbye, you say bye-bye, Daddy. It makes me want to cry. I'm always away. I'm away. Missing you today is hard enough. I don't want to miss you growing up. I'm away. You hear the elements of jazz, you know, and it's a song, so but we can do a lot with it. The folk element of jazz and the music is still there. So we literally live, we never do this, but it can go a lot of different places. You know, the root of the music, like that. And just swing on it. Blues. Essentially, that's use the references to draw everyone in. You know, the vehicle of jazz allows us to do that, though. You know, jazz gives us that capability. And when you hear that record, the Ray Charles record is a great record. You know, and Ray Charles was famous for that. It's one of my biggest influences. He mixed the gospel with the blues and the R&B and the swing, and it's like a good time. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, and there's other examples as well. Les McCann, Eddie Harris. You know, oh man, you know, so that's what there's ways to deal with this music and deal with the history, the swing, the blues, the improvisation, and still have an identity. There's a way to do it, you know. Hopefully I answered your question.
Hi. Here. About boys, will you give us some advice to get approach to scat?
Ooh. Well, okay. That's a great. That's the first time I've ever gotten that question, and that's a good thing. I like that. I don't scat, but I do. I do not scat, but I am aware of some great vocalists who are amazing at scatting. The first one that comes to mind for me is Betty Carter. Write that name down if you've never checked out any Betty Carter. That is like, whew, she's special. Scatting to me is a very natural element. It's not supposed to be contrived or kind of like, you know, if you don't scat, there's plenty of jazz vocalists who do not scat, so it's not, you know, you don't have to scat. But if you're studying the tradition of the music, you will find that scatting is within the tradition of jazz vocals, you know? Betty Carter's one. There's so many. I mean, Ella, everybody knows Ella, you know. Come on, you know. But to me, I hearken to Betty Carter just because of the raw, like visceral spirit of jazz in her scatting, you know? And if you hear it, it's not going to scare you away from scatting, but you're not going to scat if you don't mean it, if you listen to Betty Carter. Because it's just like something you just don't start doing. You know, you got to understand the inflections, and they're mimicking, you know, a solo, you know? If I would scat, for example, in the most natural way for me, it would be completely different. Like my vocabulary would be a completely different approach. Just because of my vocal, I don't come from a jazz perspective. That's why I would go back and check out, you know, the ones who do. Any other vocalists that come to mind?
I'll give you a couple of songs. So the originator of scat is, if anyone has never heard this story, they say scat was originated during a recording session in the 1920s by Louis Armstrong, when the lyrics to the music he was singing fell off the music stand, and they didn't have Pro Tools, so they couldn't stop and then punch in. So he just kept singing. He started singing, I got the heebie-jeebie, you know, he just started singing. So check out Heebie-Jeebies by Louis Armstrong. Another powerful scat solo. And this one is like, if you transcribe just this one, you would have so much information. Sarah Vaughan, Surely a Bop. That's Shulia, second word, B-O-P. She starts scatting her behind off, and at the beginning of the song, that's like, it's a 2-minute song. It's one of the most amazing scat solos you'll ever check out, I swear. And the last thing I'll say is people try and codify different syllables for scat. Like they're like, you should say Shulia, and you should say doobie doobie, all that. I honestly don't believe that. I believe you say whatever's natural to you. If la 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 is natural to you, then say that. I know in a lot of like Latin American Christmas songs, le lo la is like a very, very popular syllable. So if you just scat it using le lo la, Le lo la, le la li la li, la lo la, swoop it, scoop a li li da, swoop it, a li li up. I don't know how to scat sing. I just spit the words. Because I walk around my house all day doing that. So don't get in your head that you have to be like, I have to make this syllable and my teacher told me this is the right way to do it. No. Louis Armstrong wasn't thinking about what syllables he was using. Neither was Sarah Vaughan. He just used the ones that worked for them. So find the syllables that work for you and do that.
I just want to say 2 words as well.
Yeah, go ahead. Jump in. I like that.
George Benson.
Ooh. George, now see, that's, man. That is a lot of homework. Oh, there you go.
For what Rick said, I played a gig in Phoenix, Arizona this past summer, and we had the privilege of going to George Benson's house. And I was with this vocalist from that's based in New Orleans named Niall Jones, and she asked George, what was the key to your scatting? How did you do that? And he said that he checked out one record and learned the entire record, and well, he learned the solos from the entire record, and the record is Charlie Parker with Strings, which is a beautiful, beautiful record. You should definitely check that record out if you hadn't. But George said the secret to his vocabulary on guitar and his scatting was to learn that entire record verbatim. So yeah, I just wanted to say that just because Rick said George Benson.
Yeah. Any more? Yeah. Oh yeah. 5. Okay, one more. Okay, last one. All right. Last one. You got it. She's got it. Oh, where's 2? You know what? Oh, we should get both of them and then we're done. Boom, boom.
Hi.
Sorry.
So, my name is Joanna, and I'm a singer. I don't know how to explain this question. So, I think that most of us start learning music by imitating other musicians, right? And that has helped me a lot. But what about finding your real voice? No, because I have found that I am learning some solos from Ella Fitzgerald because I love her. But I'm not trying actually to be like her because there's only one Ella. But how can I find my real voice? I don't know.
I love it. How did you first begin singing?
At church.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sing a song that you sing in church. Don't be shy. Sing it. Yeah.
I completely forgot all this.
It's okay. It's good. I love it. Yeah. Just like a couple bars. Come on. Yeah. Anything.
I forgot all the choice. I could sing another thing, but.
Do you remember what you would sing when you first started singing in church?
Right now, no.
Yeah, but tomorrow you remember.
Yeah, tomorrow.
I got you. Well, what I would do, and we talked about this. Everybody comes into jazz. I mean, come on. Maybe some of us had jazz playing in the household as a little kid. I know I did. Jazz was not on the radio in my house when I was young. That being said, we come into jazz from a certain music. And so you have to remember that. As you imitate and check out Ella, and I mean, trust me, man, we can talk jazz like it's like nerds. We can get so intense. Matter of fact, there's still records that we all go, man, I haven't taken that record out yet, you know. But you have to remember how you come into the music first. The first notes you sing, why did you sing them? What made you want to sing? It probably wasn't jazz at the beginning. You see, that's just being honest, you know? That's okay. now that you're imitating, which we're imitating, I mean, I'm always imitating. I love Billy Higgins. Billy Higgins is one of my favorite drummers. Like, I love Billy Higgins. I'm always imitating him. But I understand I come from a groove-oriented music, which is probably why I like Billy Higgins, you know. And even with jazz vocalists, if you keep in mind where you came from into jazz, you'll start to find vocalists who resemble, you know, like a Nina Simone or like a, you know, Odetta Davis. There's so many vocalists that have Abby Lincoln that have different perspectives into jazz, and it takes time too. So just remember where you come from as you imitate all of these vocalists and all of this information, and it'll happen naturally. I promise you it will. Because I know I definitely used to sound like Frankie Dunlap when I was in college. It was just like, and then over time, you get the confidence to be yourself in the music, you know? That takes time, you know? Wynton sounds like Louis Armstrong, like, and Miles mixed, you know? So hopefully I answered your question in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we're gonna go to my friend.
Just real briefly, one thing on your question. If I have one minor regret about my time in jazz school, it's that I didn't write a song like once a month, like away from jazz. I like to write songs and sing too, and I kind of forgot about all that because I was so involved in doing the work that I had to do to become a jazz musician. But you know, it took me a while to get back to that. So just don't, whatever that is for you, don't forget that. Hold on to that. Do the work you got to do, but always keep working on that. Don't lose it. It's important.
Thanks.
Yeah, you gotta sing something too next time. Tonight, you gotta sing. You gotta sing. She probably needs a mic. She's pretty far. La 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 la. What you were saying?
Hi, my name is Ale Lara, and I want to ask you, everyone, how do you do to connect with the audience? And the most important, how do you feel when you connect? Because I think there are a lot of musicians, but they don't get that connection with the audience. And I can feel right now in the first melody you did, wow, you connect. I like to know how do you do and how do you feel?
Whew. That's a good one. That's a, we're gonna all answer this one, and then we're gonna, you know, this is gonna be the last question. I think it's actually the perfect last question. So thank you. Rick, you're first.
The most important way to connect to the audience is by really having a good time playing and letting people see that. When I'm playing with these guys, these are my best friends I'd be hanging out with anyway if we didn't have a show in Mexico City, which we're so happy to be here playing for you guys. Yeah, it's just joy. Like, Jamison is a joyful dude. I know this guy real well. He's one of my best friends. And when we're not playing music, he's full of joy. When he plays music, he's so full of joy, and you can feel that. And I've seen him melt all kinds of crowds all over the world and just get right to people's hearts. And that's special. Not everybody can do that. But it's because he loves what he's doing. And we love with each other, with this band, this group of gentlemen. So, yeah, just love what you're doing. Be passionate, don't be afraid to, like, you know, make a funny face or, you know, look stupid in front of people. In fact, the more you do that, the more people are probably going to be drawn in. Like, I could probably play one note and then lay my guitar down and then, like, lay on the stage and, like, dance around or something, I don't know. Sometimes that's what the mood calls for. So just don't be afraid, love what you're doing.
Barry?
It's a two-way street, and an important part of connecting with an audience is, one, you have to want to connect with an audience. You have to, it has to be something that you're trying to do, and not in a contrived, cheesy way, but something I do is, I might just, while I'm playing in the middle of a song, I might just look into the audience and look somebody right in their eye, you know? I might smile, I might not, but I connect that way. Another thing is also, like Rick was saying, just being very, very passionate and loving what you do. Because if you do that, it comes across to the audience. Like, people always tell me, man, you look like you're having a lot of fun when you're playing. Well, because I am. You know, it's just what's happening on stage. And this is a big debate in jazz, whether or not you need to, like, pander to the audience or whatever. I mean, we don't play music to play in our rooms by ourselves. We play music so we can connect with people like yourselves. So with that in mind, if you believe in what you're doing and you really, really love it, the audience can feel that, and that's the connection that can take place. It's not necessarily like I have to make jokes or smile at you to make you connect to the music. I just have to really believe in what I'm doing, and if I really believe in it, you'll believe in it too.
Belief.
Yeah, I mean, this guy said it. It's a matter of being honest, and to connect with the audience, I think the band has to first connect with each other on stage first, and really be selfless, and really understand your role as a musician, which is to heal. And and once you understand that role, then you can play that role better. So just simply put.
At the end of the day, all of the practicing and all of the records and the master classes and the different perspectives, different viewpoints that you're going to get, as an artist in general. The core goal as an artist is to inspire people. That is the core goal. So learning how to play that difficult solo, learning how to play this song that is very hard to play, or learning how it's not for you to sit on stage and look down at your instrument and feel accomplished about achieving the goal of playing the song. No. That's why what we do is really difficult. There's a very high barometer, because once you get really good, then you have to actually take that and give it. That's the part. We don't play with music stands. I hate music stands. I hate reading music on stage. I do not like doing it. Why? Because when you put a music stand in front of a person, immediately it just kind of cuts off the connection. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with the music stand. But for what the goal of being an artist and what we do to inspire with the music, it's not always about what we're playing. Exactly. It's really about the connection, the message. If you look back at the beginning of what we call American popular folk music, or just folk music in general across the world, most of it had a message. It wasn't just notes and rhythms and tones. There's a reason why you played it. Even in Africa, there's a reason why they beat the drums. There's a reason. So as you learn the art form, remember that there's something higher, there's a different connection that you have to get to that takes it off of the notes, takes it off the music stand, takes it away from how difficult it is, how hard it is, can you play it? Oh, we did a really good job that night. Some nights we don't sound good. I'm not gonna say anything about it. Why? Because the goal of the audience was actually reached. We did what we were supposed to do, even though I felt like we may have sucked that night. It's like at the end, it takes time to get here. And anxiety of being a young artist can really, it can rile you up and make you feel like you're not getting anywhere. But it happens, and when it does happen, the music becomes, or the technical ability becomes secondary. If you ever watch Winton play, he's always looking at people with his horn. Like he's not even thinking about the trumpet. You know what I mean? It's always like, I'm playing to you, So, yeah, that's a deep question. Well, hope I see you guys tonight.
Muchas gracias a todos, especialmente a Jamison y su grupo. No olviden que tienen la opción del descuento del 40% con el registro de su clase. No olviden tampoco brindarnos de regreso el cuestionario que les entregaron. Y ayúdennos, sobre todo, a promocionar el próximo concierto, a decirle a sus amigos, a ayudarnos a continuar con esta labor y estos conciertos. El próximo cuarteto es Camille Thurman, una muy buena amiga de Jamison. Así que los esperamos aquí el 6 de mayo a las 5 de la tarde con la clase 8:30 el concierto. Muchas gracias a todos. Nos vemos en la noche. Gracias.